In today's video, we are going to be solving multi-step Pythagorean theorem problems. So we're going to be given these obscure diagrams and use Pythagorean theorem to solve for the sides or whatever they're asking for in this problem. All right, so in this problem right here, we are looking for, it looks like the dashed side right here. That's what we're trying to look for. All right, now we notice right here we have a rectangle right below a right triangle. And what I like to do at the beginning is kind of label what I do know. All right, so what do I do know? I know this is 6. That means this is going to be 6, right? I don't know the length of this. I can't tell the length of this, and I can't tell the length of this just by looking at it, all right? But, all right, this one thing helped us a little bit. All right, so now I can actually find this side of the right triangle using Pythagorean theorem since they give me the legs, right? 7 squared and 9 squared, all right? If I plugged in the Pythagorean theorem. So if I want to figure out this, I'm going to call this, I don't know, x. So I'm going to use my Pythagorean theorem. 7 squared plus 9 squared equals x squared. I know 7 squared is 49. 9 squared is 81 equals x squared. 49 plus 81, it is 130. X squared. And then what I'm going to do is find the square root of both sides. Now, I'm going to leave it just the square root of 30. 130, excuse me. I'm just going to leave it just like that. Because when you start figuring out, when you're rounding, okay, that could mess up your decimal at the very end, all right? So I want to be as accurate as possible. I know this is the square root of 30. 130, excuse me. I keep saying 30. 130. All right, so that means this is the square root of 130. Now, I still need to find my diagonal here. So now all I have to do is pretty much do the Pythagorean theorem again. I have a leg here, and I have a leg here, right? 6 and the square root of 130. So I can just use the Pythagorean theorem again to find the hypotenuse. So I'm going to call this, I'm going to call it a different letter, y. All right. So over here, I have 6 squared plus the square root of 130 squared. Don't forget that square root part. That's important. Equals y squared. And 6 squared is 36. Square root of 130 squared is 130 equals y squared. 36 plus 130 is 166. Find the square root of both sides. Square root of 166, that is the length of this. But I'm going to round it to the nearest tenth in case they ask you to round it. Square root of 166 is about 12.9. So it's about 12.9. All right, so be careful if they ask you to round it or they ask you to leave it in radical form. All right, it's going to be, if that rounded is 12.9. All right, let's look at another diagram. Dun, dun, dun. Ooh, yeah. Okay, same kind of thing here. All right. We start labeling some sides. It looks like I'm looking for x here. So I know if this is x, that means this is going to be x. Do I know anything else? Nope. I still have to figure this out. So I can still figure out this hypotenuse here, right? I'm going to call it y, just so it's a different letter. You know this is going to be the same thing, right? Y. All right. All right. So we have the legs here, 2 and 4. So we have 2 squared plus 4 squared equals y squared. We have 2 squared is 4. 4 squared is 16 equals y squared. 4 plus 16 is 20 equals y squared. Find the square root of both sides. And I'm going to leave it, square root of 20. Because that is not a perfect square. All right, so now I still need to find my x. All right, now in this case, all right, doesn't matter what you use. You can use these two or these two. These are the legs, and this is the hypotenuse. So a little bit different than the last problem. I'm trying to solve for the leg and not the hypotenuse. So my Pythagorean theorem for my second part is going to be x squared plus the square root of 20 squared equals 9 squared. All right, that looks like a 26. I just want to fix it. So it's 20. There we go. All right, x squared plus the square root of 20 squared, which is just 20, equals 9 squared, which is 81. All right, now with this one, right, minus 20 from both sides. And we get, what is it, 61? X squared equals 61. Then I find the square root of both sides. So this is actually the square root of 61, right? But if I need to round it, 61, it is about 7.8. So it is about 7.8. All right, so this number right here is about 7.8. Not exactly. All right, so that one we had to find the hypotenuse and then a leg to figure out our multi-step diagram. One more. Oh, a little bit different. Really don't, okay, there's not many diagonals or stuff like that. We kind of have to use our own drawing skills to figure out this, okay? So you could, let's kind of adjust this, move this over here. All right, so it looks like we could make a rectangle and a right triangle by using this, all right? So I could draw on my own here. It's hard to draw a straight line on this. A rectangle. Let me do a little bit better than that. One more time. This will be. All right, that's the best I'm getting here. All right, so there is my right triangle, right? Or, I'm sorry, my rectangle. All right, so I know this is 3. That means this has to be 3. And since this whole thing is 10, this part has to be 7. So we have 7 plus 3 is 10. Okay, so if this is 7, that's one leg. We could also figure out this part right here. We know this is 7, so that means this part is going to be 7. Now, look at this. We have a right triangle right here. We have the legs are 7. It's just coincidence that those are the same. And then the hypotenuse, we have to figure out the hypotenuse with that. All right. So this one, we just had to draw in our little diagram. All right. So we have the legs and the hypotenuse. So we have 7 squared plus 7 squared equals x squared. We have 49 plus 49 equals x squared. 98 equals x squared. Find the square root of both sides. And my answer is 9.9 about. So this is about 9.9. So this is the square root of 98, which is about 9.9. All right, so some of the diagrams you have to kind of draw in your own little rectangle or figure out things using your geometric skills here. All right, and again, this was just a coincidence that these two sides are the same. All right, and that might not always be the case. So that's it for today's video. Thank you for watching, and always remember, whether you're solving for X or Y, always give math a try.